Davy Kirk, T.J. Hooker, and Emmy Award winner for his role in Boston Legal, Mr. William Shatner. I'm going to have Bill take it away.
Hey. Hello, everybody. Wow, look at that. It's Friday night. What are you doing here? The ice cream parlors are open, pizza places, and what? So good. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I'm here. It's a perfect meeting of minds. But so, these things. What are you doing? No, you're going to be pointing to us. I hate that couch, and the thing isn't far enough down. Somebody give me a hand here. Pull this chair down. This is the way to start off a show, isn't it? Okay, never mind. I got it myself. No, don't bother. I got it. No, don't bother. So how do you start off? How do you talk to an audience? How do you talk to an audience? To begin with, so I was here some years ago. Who's behind me? No, really, who's coming up behind me? Okay. You get paranoid after you do 3 of these shows. You get paranoid. People sneak up behind you, and then they stab you. That's not what I meant to do starting off. So what am I doing? All right? Here's a good thing. What am I doing? Well, lots of stuff. This weekend, I put on, for the 35th year, a charity show. A charity horse show, and every year we raise somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000. So over 35 years, it's millions of dollars for kids and for veterans. So the kids with troubles and problems, physical and mental, it's not unlike what veterans from the wars coming back have the same kind of problems that horses have a great deal to do with. That there is, I don't know if I could use the word cure, but a treatment for the ills of the children and the veterans. It's called hippotherapy, and so 35 years ago, I was competing in a horse show at this locale in Los Angeles, and one of the contestants came out, 6-year-old girl. In those years, way back then, they gave pregnant women who needed and wanted it a pill that had thalidomide in it, and nobody knew until afterwards that it affected the birth of the child. That children were born with deformities of one kind or another. And this beautiful young lady had no arms and one leg, and with her toes, she was holding the reins of the horse. And that was this charity that I was at, the horse show, and I thought, oh God, with my 3 healthy kids, and the way parents feel, you can be very sympathetic towards a child in need when you're single and you don't have any responsibilities like children. The moment you have a child and you see a sick child, your heart goes out. I mean, you say immediately, there for the trusted God, go I. So I'm looking at this young lady, and the people putting on the show were going to stop the show. They were tired, and they didn't want to do it anymore. And I said, I'll do it. Thinking, how much trouble could a horse show be? Exactly. So 35 years later, and millions of dollars into the pockets of charities around not only the Los Angeles area, but pretty much all across the states. We've given money to these charities that deal with children and veterans, mostly using hippotherapy. So my show was on, the 5-day show was on this past weekend, and on Saturday night we had a party. See, I got a book out there called Bold to Go, and the premise, I think, of the book is I'm under the impression that the universe is taking care of me. And it's the weirdest thing that, it's as simple as parking spots that open up when I drive. But more than that, I'm sitting in a chair outside the trainer's stable, and it's in full view of people walking back and forth, and I'm sitting there just enjoying being, with a Western hat on, pretending I'm a cowboy, and riding horses, which I love to do. I'm sitting there. It's now Saturday, late afternoon, and I've done all the work I can on the horse show. It's just me and the young lady, Kathleen Hayes, who works with me. We put on the show. Nobody gets paid. We don't have any other help. It's just she and I are putting on the show. And I'm now feeling content. I've got the show. I've booked the entertainment. A guy by the name of Jim Cawley, who imitates Elvis Presley, and he's fantastic. And he's all set. We got the stage. We got the music. We got the thing. And along the dusty road where I'm sitting, walk a very attractive older lady and a young lady. She looks to be about 14 or 15. Turns out she's 20, but she's got long brown hair and a little simple dress, and she's walking. She seems like she's 14 or 15. And I'm sitting there looking, and I got glasses on, and I got a hat on, and now she comes over and she says, "Well, what's going on?" And I said, "Well, this is a horse show, charity horse show." And she says, "Oh, no." I said, "What do you do?" She says, "Well, I'm an actress, and I like to act, and I like to sing, I like to dance, and then I sing the national anthem." She sings the national anthem. I forgot to book somebody to sing the national anthem, and that's 2 hours from now when the show goes on. My God! I said, "Would you like to sing the national anthem now?" "Oh, yeah, I'd like to." "Can you do it a cappella? Because I don't have any." "Yeah, I could do it a cappella." I take her out in front of the audience a couple of hours later, and she takes the microphone in her hands. And unlike, what was that beautiful lady who sang the national anthem so well that we all remember her? Whitney Houston. Unlike Whitney Houston, with all those acrobatic vocals, this 20-year-old, I didn't know what talent she had. I thought, even if she's terrible, it's okay. People say, "Oh, the national anthem, she was terrible." She starts to sing in the sweetest, purest voice and sings the national anthem the way you want to hear it. Simply, oh, say, and instead of hitting those high notes, she simply sings it with her heart. And in this fractured country, there was the national anthem, simple and beautiful and loving, brought everybody to tears. And I hadn't booked anybody to sing the national anthem till she came along. Was it great? The heavens are looking after me, as they do all the time. For example, this Christmas, let me start. A gentleman by the name of Daniel Fox gets a hold of me. I've been putting on a cruise
to the Antarctic every Christmas week for the last several years. Would you like to go on it and be part of the cruise? 25 years ago, I met Elizabeth, my wife. I met her, and I'd had a tragedy in my life, so I was blundering around, and here was this beautiful woman who lived 75 miles from my home. But I'd met her at a horse show. And we were talking, and we're getting along, and I call her at her home, and I said, hey, listen, this is 25 years ago. A photographer who's world famous, one of his great famous pictures was using a fisheye lens. Perhaps you know it. The fisheye lens encompasses 360 degrees. There's no focus like that. It just takes in. This whole thing would be a fisheye. So this guy, this photographer, in the Antarctic, lay on his back with penguins all around, and lay back with a fisheye lens, and the penguins, who are naturally curious, all leaned in to take a look. It became a world-famous picture of these penguins looking into camera. This well-known photographer, whose name I've long since forgotten, I was offered the ability to go to the Antarctic again with this guy and learn the intricacies of great photography. I said, God, that sounds great. And then I saw Elizabeth, and I said to Elizabeth, would you like to go to the Antarctic with me? She says, well, I just met you. I said, no. You'll have your own cabin. You'll do whatever you want. But how much fun would it be to go to the Antarctic with me for a week? Fun? And she said, well, wait a minute. I got to go home with my mother and mark down the pros and cons of going with you. And she ran a horse business and all. So a couple of days later, she comes back to me. She says, the pros were pretty good, but the cons took it over. I'm sorry, I can't go. And a year later, we got married. And I said to her all these years, you really missed a great journey we could have, because I decided not to go. I didn't want to be alone on for a couple of weeks in the middle of nowhere. So I decided I wouldn't go. If she's not going, I'm not going. So I didn't go either. 25 years later, this year, she and I and my whole family are going to the Antarctic on a cruise ship, which, by the way, is being billed as the adventure of a lifetime. And if you go to my website, WilliamShatner.com, you'll see how it lays out. And maybe there are people in this audience who is fairly expensive, has the money and the opportunity to go with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Scott Kelly, the astronaut, and me on a very small 200-cabin boat to the Antarctic Christmas week, and Elizabeth and I are finally going to the Antarctic 25 years later. Now, while some of you don't care, and really I understand. So that's what I'm going to do Christmas. In between, I'm going on a barge trip to Italy. Last year, I'm busy making memories with my family for obvious reasons. So I took everybody on a barge to France. We left just below Paris and went, 150 miles through France on the canals that used to be used to haul large product, like produce, like corn or wheat or coal. Large barges towed by horseback. So the horses would be along the side path with a harness on and dragging the barge to wherever it was going. And they have a series of canals in Italy, in France, and in Italy, and as we know in North in America, they have all the canals up there where they used to bring the produce from the Midwest to the eastern ports. So there are a lot of canals in upstate New York and those eastern states. And so they have one in France. And the whole family got on a barge, which they had adapted to cabins and the cooks and things like that. And so the whole family went to France last year and all the memories there, and walking alongside, because the barge goes at 3 miles an hour, and there's very nice sleeping quarters, and they hire a gourmet chef, and so you have meals and go for a week. I'm going to do that in Italy in the next few weeks, and making memories there. And then an album I made called Where Will the Animals Sleep is number 5 on Billboard. It went to number 5 immediately. It's a beautiful album, and it's an album for children, but adults will love it as well. Why are only 5 people down front applauding? It's perfect. 10 people scattered through the audience. So that's what I'm doing. Now, see, that's what I meant to do. That's like warming you up, right? Like, this is what I'm doing. But what are you doing? So, we have a microphone set up there. Do we have somebody handling that mic? Do we have somebody? All right, just somebody get up at that mic. Anybody, just get up at that mic. You're standing up. Move, move, move. You may want to be going to the bathroom, but you're going to go to that microphone over there. And you can pee later. Okay, so perfect. And if there's more than those 2 guys, form a line, and I'll answer some of your questions. So, sir, I tell you what, bring the microphone down 10, 15 feet. Just grab it and bring it down. Lift it up, of course. That's it. Bring it down here.
Bring it down here.
There you go. Perfect. Be careful. There should be a cable. There's no cable? Okay. Speak into it, and let's see if it works. It works! Is that what you want to ask?
No.
Oh,
okay. On the set of Star Trek, there was...
Now, wait a minute. There's got to be a protocol here.
Okay.
You got to get the microphone right into here.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Now we can hear you.
Okay. So on the set of Star Trek,
slow down.
There was a blooper reel from the 60s.
Slow down. And get your microphone right in there.
All right.
Now talk to me.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so...
Pretend you're whispering into someone's ear who's lying beside you.
All right.
There you go.
You bumped into the door many times.
Wait a minute. A little more voice.
Okay.
She fell asleep. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. How often did that happen on the set?
How often does what?
Did you bump?
People speak words all the time. They just keep speaking words. What else are you thinking about?
The door on Star Trek. How often did you bump it?
The door on Star Trek. So you got up all that way. You're the first person on that microphone, and I thought, wow, here comes an important question. How often did the door not work?
Yes.
All the time. The door worked, I would say 50-50, okay? I'll be generous, because there was a guy that you, the audience, couldn't see behind the set who was supposed to keep his eye on the actors, so when they got up those stairs, there's another 3 or 4 feet before the door. He was to pull the door open, and I invariably would go whoosh. which of course they didn't use, but they should have, because my whoosh was a lot better than the sound guy when they put the sound of the door open. They should have used what I did, but they didn't. So I'd walk up, you have the con, and off I'd go, and the door would open. I'd say whoosh, I'd turn around, and the doors would close. About 50% of the time. The other 50% would be, I'd walk up, you have the con, I'd walk up, and I'd hit the door. The guy, whoever they had, it didn't matter who it was so bored. He either fell asleep because he stayed up late last night, or he was drunk. Pretty much drunk. So he wouldn't open the door. He had fallen asleep. In fact, there are times you can hear the door open, and is the way the door opens. Probably needed a little oil on the bearings. But the guy would fall asleep. All he had to do was open the door, and I'd bang into the door. It became a running joke. Nobody laughed, least of all me. That's how often. Is that your way? Don't go away. You're going away. You don't follow orders. Get back to the microphone. He got back to the microphone. Now, I want you to think of another question. Surely, you're about what, 30, 25?
44.
Oh.
I age well.
You don't age at all. Especially your mind. What's your name?
Robert.
Robert, there must be another question you have that is not how often did the door open?
Well, how do you stay so young at
Wait a
your
minute,
age?
how what?
How do you stay so young at your age?
That's a wonderful question. Do you know what mitochondria is?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Speak into the mic.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a microscopic life form.
You got it right into the mic. We can't.
It's a microscopic life form in your body that you.
It's the power source of the cell.
Yes.
Okay? And gradually, as you get older, like any other furnace, it begins to get a little lazy. And the fuel doesn't get. So they're working, scientists are working right now on propping up the mitochondria. And exactly how, I don't know, because if I knew, I would tell them they wouldn't have to work so hard. So, there are things you can do that are coming up with mitochondria. I know this because a company called for me and said, would I like to join the company? And they're running experiments right now. Very expensive experiments using cellular knowledge, whatever that is, of the cells and enhancing our mitochondria, which in the next 10 years will provide, they say, the ability to live a long time, 100, 120 years, whatever. If they can get to the mitochondria, I don't think I have 20 years. I think I have about a year. 2 years. I got two. Give me three. I got three. Okay. My time is more limited than you in your 44 years. But eventually, you will need mitochondria enhancement. And by that time, you're so lucky, they'll have it. I do nothing. I sit here and talk to people with your intelligence and find myself appalled. No. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for allowing me to make fun. Well, Muscles, what do you got?
Hi, Bill. I wanted to ask if you have any fond memories of Ricardo Montalban from Space Seed, or if you would just like to sing some of the Rocket Man song.
So I have a choice between singing Rocket Man and telling you some stories about Ricardo Montalban.
Or both.
Let's see, what will I do? I'll talk to you about Ricardo Montalban. How's that? Okay. First of all, you're not pronouncing his name correctly. Okay? So I want you to say after me, Ricardo Montalban.
Montalban.
No, Montalban.
Montalban.
There you go. Now put it together. Ricardo Montalban.
Ricardo.
No.
Sorry. Ricardo Montalban.
No, don't you understand?
I'm trying.
You got to say the name like he feels. Now, he had these enormous pecs, right? He was proud of his pecs.
Right.
So his name was Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban.
No, you're screaming Montalban.
Sorry.
You got to feel the power.
Feel.
Let me feel the power.
Okay. Ricardo Montalban on the stage.
Where did on the stage come from?
I don't know.
No. That's a bad ad lib, man.
I'm sorry.
Ricardo Montalban, and you're not.
Ricardo Montalban, and I'm not.
What do you do for a living? You don't act, right? You're not a performer.
Sometimes.
Where?
In my living room?
Yeah. Do you have little children?
They're not little anymore, Bill.
How old are they?
25 and 31.
Geez.
Yeah.
So they walk out of the room when you become a Ricardo Montalban, right?
They don't like it when I sing either.
They don't hang around when you're performing in the living room.
Sometimes.
What times?
When I'm watching Kingdom of the Spiders and reciting some of the dialogue.
Sure, turn it on me. All right, Ricardo Montalban was... Here's the story of Ricardo Montalban. So I met him. He did, prior to doing the movies, he did a segment of the original show. And I met him there. And I thought, my God, that's Ricardo Montalban. When I was young, like I was probably still at high school or maybe university, my parents and I went down to New York to see the shows. I lived in Montreal. Montreal's about 300 miles from New York City. And every so often, my family, my parents and I, and maybe my sister, would drive down to New York, stay a few days and see some shows. So one of the shows I saw had the word Jamaica in it. Jamaica, love, great Jamaica. And dancing in the show Jamaica was this handsome young Latin guy. And wow, what a good-looking guy, and such a dancer. And he acted, and he sang. Wow, what a multi-talent. A few years later, I see this guy on the screen playing Latin lovers, and the mustache, the thing, and the front, and it's the guy from Jamaica. What's that? Oh, Ricardo Montalban. This guy's name was, I kind of spotted him as a star. He had this quality. Okay? So that was my introduction. Years later, I'm on the set as playing the part of Captain Kirk, and on comes this guy that I had seen, and I don't know why I remember in this Jamaica holiday, whatever it was, and spotted him from time to time on the screen, but I kind of thought I knew him. So here he comes. The universe is taking care of me once again. Hello, yes, what's your name, sir? My name is Ricardo Montalban. How do you do? My name is William Shatner. We became buddies. He played in that segment. He was handsome and he was strong and he walked with authority because he was a dancer. Now, 8, 10 years later, we're making the movie. And he's been hired, and he comes on the set. And I said, we met, and he's walking with a cane. What happened? I fell off a horse. My name is Ricardo Montalban, and I fell off a horse. George, that's too bad. Yeah, no, it's and he tossed it off. When he comes up for the series, that was for the series. When he comes up for the movie, he's walking with a walker. So what happened? He says, my hip didn't get any better. And as time went on, he went from the cane to the walker to the wheelchair to being unable to move. By the time the movie of whatever number that was, he got back into his wheelchair and he went to his home, which was a beautiful home, and I went to visit him frequently. We became buddies. And he worked out all the time, but not with his legs. But he worked with his upper body. And he had these incredible pectoral muscles. And then he died. And he left, what he left behind was a theater called the Ricardo Montalban Theater, devoted to Spanish-American or Spanish-Mexican theater. So they would do Spanish plays or hire Spanish-speaking talents, and this theater thrived for a long time, long after he was dead, the Ricardo Montalban Theater. And that's my association with Ricardo Montalban. Isn't that something? To see the man's life pass in front of you. I knew a guy. He built tennis courts in Santa Barbara, California, one of the rich communities of the United States. And I had saved some money, and I bought some land in the hills, and there was nothing on the hill. And so somebody said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "I'd like to build a home right here." There was a stream going by, wild stream, nobody up above it, and I'd like to build a home. They said, "Well, there's a guy who's retired from building tennis courts in Santa Barbara. He's living right in this place, in this town. And maybe he'd build a house. I go see him." And he's walking with a cane. "How are you?" I followed him. And we start talking about the house, and he starts building the house, and he builds a simple, beautiful wooden house on top of a rock with a wild river running by. Well, it's in our family, and it's like a treasure. As he's building the house, and I'm in Los Angeles, and this place is 200 miles from Los Angeles, you have to drive up to see it, so it's an effort. So every 2-3 weeks, I'd go up to see how the building was going. And he was walking with a cane, and then he started walking with a walker, and then he was in a wheelchair, and he had MS. And one day, he couldn't get out of bed. He was dying. Wow. And he was been a Green Beret. He was that kind of masculine guy. He was a soldier. One of the premier soldiers who was building my house. I thought I was blessed. And now I can't get out of bed. He had a special van made. So his wife, who was a willowy, beautiful teacher in the town, they got married. And she would lift him out of the bed, this very slim, beautiful lady, who over a period of a year that it took to build the house, muscled up. She became like a muscle builder from lifting her 200-pound husband up. She'd lift him up, and she got these enormous arms and thighs. I mean, she was beautiful before, but my God, she became this raving beauty with this great physique. And they'd get him into the car, and they'd drive up to where the building site was, and one day he couldn't get out of bed. He's dying. Jeez. But the last thing he did was my home. And then I drove up there to see him some weeks later, and he got up, sat up in bed. I said, "My God, man." He says, "Yeah, they tell me that MS can go into, what do you call it, remission." So MS went into remission. And he got better and better. He went from staggering around the house to a wheelchair to walking with a cane. And we built the house, and his parents came to see it, and everybody was weeping, crying that this was something he had built, something solid and standing. About 6 months later, I'm shooting a film up in Northern California, the bay there. Anyway, there's a crowd around. And I'm walking towards the set, and there's everybody, oh, Shatner, and I hear, Bill. And there's the guy. The remission had stopped. He was now back in the wheelchair. He had gone from getting almost perfect, and now was going back down. Bill. And I said hello. You know, we hugged each other. I went off to work. He left somewhere. I never saw him again, but he died shortly thereafter. Isn't that a fun story? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Now, wait a minute. How old are you?
I'm in my 50s.
You're in your 50s.
I am.
See, I can't see too well from here because the light's in my eye, but you look like 14.
Aww.
In fact, if I were you, I would carry that light around
I think it might.
and shine it in people's eyes when you come to meet them.
I think that's a great idea.
What's your name?
My name is Lori.
Rory?
Lori.
Lori.
Yes, sir.
Right into the mic, Lori.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, I wanted to, first of all, tell you how much I've enjoyed your body of work. T.J. Hooker, as a young woman, I was a police officer back in the day, and then I later became a lawyer, which is what I am now.
You're a lawyer?
And I'm a lawyer, and I loved your work in Boston Legal.
Right.
But
Did it remind you of anybody?
well, probably shouldn't drop any names because, you know, don't want to have any disciplinary issues
Right-
with people
right
with
into
the
the
state
mic.
bar, right?
Right into
But you were my gateway drug to science fiction.
Uh-huh.
So, as a young person watching Star Trek, that was my gateway to science fiction, and I am a huge science fiction fan. But my question to you is: have you considered how successful the Star Trek fandom has become over the years, and how much we all love it? Without you and what you gave to that franchise, I don't think it would be anywhere near what it is today. I think you were the impetus behind that whole development of Star Trek.
It's so weird. I agree with you.
I thought you might.
Universe.
Yeah.
What's your question?
Well, have you considered?
That was a statement.
It is.
And as a lawyer, I know you know the difference.
Yeah, a little
What's
bit.
your closing argument here?
A little bit, but have you considered? I mean, I'm sure you probably have, but have you considered what you gave to that fandom and how
They owe me a lot of money.
they do owe you a lot of money? I've got action figures at home that I'm sure you haven't been paid for. My granddaughter carries around little action figures of
That's
you
great.
and Riker, and I've got she's got the whole thing.
That's great. I'm sure buried
Yeah.
underneath all that dialogue is a question.
It is. If
Right into the mic.
have you considered what kind of role you could do in any kind of reboot or any kind of these wonderful little series that they're bringing forward now, like they've done with Picard, and taking some of these older storylines? I mean, fortunately, we have all the movies and everything that you did after the series ended, but have you thought about what a cool role you could bring to that now?
Yes.
Okay.
No, really. You know, I'm in a wonderful position. I'm my age, and I'm in demand all over the place, including Dallas, which is in my pleasure coming to these Comic-Con is doing what you and I are doing right now. Meeting you and having fun with you and trying to entertain you. So I'm in a really great place. They pay me well, and go on trips with my family. I've got my health. My mitochondria is
Excellent.
pumping there,
Yes.
and I'm in great shape. I even had a dreadful health thing happen to me this year, and I've gone from, I went from lying in bed about 3 or 4 months ago, and I had my feet crossed, like I touched my toes, lying in bed, just exhausted and drained from the illness, and I thought, am I dying?
Oh my goodness.
No, I mean, really, am I dying? Because we don't know
That's true.
what dying is. We're alive, and I suspect until you pass away, you think, okay, I'm alive, I'm good. I just got to get over this dreadful thing with pain or whatever it is. But we don't know that you're going to recover from that pain or whatever it is. And then you die. And I had a friend of mine, the daughter was sitting beside her mother who was dying, and the mother said to the daughter, which is repeated to me, the quality of what she said was this: Elizabeth, I'm dying. With incredulity. Like, my God, I'm never going to see you again. I mean, when you're over 25, I think, you start thinking about what's it like to die. As you get older, you start thinking, I wonder what it's like to die. And then, and it gets closer and closer. And you don't know what it's like to die. What are the symptoms of dying?
Sure.
You can get really ill and recover from it. Oh God, I was really ill, but you didn't die.
Right.
What happens when you're really ill? Do you have that realization? Oh my God, like this lady, I'm dying. Where did she go? Gone. What's it like? Isn't that interesting?
It is very
Is
interesting.
that funny? Isn't that the funniest thing you ever heard? Thank you. Pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Got it. Now, there's that big man with a big hat.
Oh yeah, well I had to show up.
Now, right into the mic.
Oh,
Yeah, lift it up.
there you go.
No,
I had to impress you.
no, right into the mic.
I had to impress you.
That's exactly right.
So, I don't really have a question.
Oh, goodbye.
I do. Okay, let me frame it as a question.
What?
Can you please?
Wait a minute. Can you is beginning of a question.
That's why I was
So
reframing.
now you're about to ask a question.
I am about to.
I don't know how you get from can you to no question.
I could say,
Well,
can
try,
you?
sure, just for, hold on to this thing that's a non-question, and say the words can you, and don't make it a question.
Okay. Can you?
That's it? I can. Can you what?
Can you please?
No, get right into the mic.
Can you please say the 2 words?
Can I tweet?
No, say Denny Crane.
What?
Denny Crane.
Who's that? Why do you? Well, people ask me to say it. I feel like a monkey. Get up here and have a peanut. Why? Say Denny Crane. I don't want to say Denny Crane.
You just did.
But not with the. That was mocking it, because when David E. Kelly, the genius,
Yes.
who wrote the show, one day I read the script and the character says Denny Crane 4 or 5 times. And I looked at it and I thought, is that a misprint? And I said to the director, how do you say Denny Crane 7 times? He says, I don't know. And then I thought about lizards.
Lizards.
Are you not going to say anything when I say I thought about lizards?
Do you want me to say the
You
door?
oh, Shatner saying lizards as an explanation. Aren't you like, what? No.
I assumed there was this story that
Of course,
follows.
lizards and Denny Crane. Why not? I mean, well, I'll tell you. I thought about lizards who stick their tongue out. You know what they're doing when they're tasting their environment. They're assessing the temperature, the mode, the what's happening out there. It's an antenna. And I thought, if this character is saying his name all the time, isn't it like an antenna? My name is Denny Crane. Denny Crane. Denny Crane. I mean, the variety of ways you could say Denny Crane becomes like, how did you react to my name? No, you. How did you react? No, where are you looking? I'm answering your question. That's the rudest thing I've ever had. That's it. I'm out of here. I'm coming. No. Okay. So, where's everybody going? So I thought it would be an interesting way of acting those lines that David E. Kelly wrote, to think about checking the atmosphere. How are you reacting to my name? And that's called acting. Thank you, everybody. Pleasure to see you.